Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I'm Gat, your host. A viewer requested a Twin Flames natal chart analysis. Now, the chart on the right we have done previously, so we're going to be particularly looking at the chart on the left, and then we will sum it all up to see if these two are twin flames. All right, now if you notice, his ascendant is 29 degrees at the 12th house. So the ascendant is in the Libra. So he has something that's ending, especially at 29 degrees, but he's also got something that's kind of a beginning with the ascendant. And the 12th house usually pictures the prenatal or pre-birth of the person. And in the ascendant, which is usually the first house, is after the person is born. But sometimes when you see your ascendant in your 12th house, it's some unfinished business you might have from a previous life. But it is in the 12th house, so that's how we'll treat it, as in the 12th house. So the ascendant would definitely be Libra, but again, this would be the final of the Libra. And like I said, we'll do that more when we do the 12th house. Now his first house deals with Scorpio, and as you can see, he has quite a lot of activity and Scorpio. And the first thing you notice is Juno. His Juno means a serious relationship with a Scorpio type in Aries, because Aries rules the first house. And then when you look over to this chart, you see her vertex is in Scorpio, meaning she may find herself in a soulmate situation or a twin soul relationship with a Scorpio type, or she may find herself in some type of significant event in her life, or significant makeup or breakups, significant meeting. Some people even say fated meeting with Scorpio energy, or Scorpio Virgo type energy. All right, we'll continue. All right, so first thing you're gonna notice is this is gonna be this person's personality is gonna be somewhat. Aries is the first house, that could be a lot of aggression, not necessarily, but when you mix it in with Scorpio, you're definitely pushing it, because Mars used to rule Aries and Scorpio. So you got Mars who rules, so this can be very explosive, and then you tap it off with Neptune, which when you see Neptune and Scorpio together, see, the situation is going to be this. The first house is always really your personality, and oftentimes the ascendant is in the first house, and a lot of astrologers still count the ascendant as house 1, even if it's not in house 1, as in this case. So some people look to your ascendant to say your personality, but really you should look to the first house for the most part. And in this case, so if he was really going to get a reading, he will want to mention Scorpio. As far as, he could mention Libra if he wants to, but at 29 degrees, he's actually leaving that Libra energy. He may still be a little Libra, who knows? Because each person is different. But he would be better off for his ascendant saying Scorpio, because that Libra is leaving, that ascendant is leaving Libra and going into a Scorpio. And we will, like I said, when we get to the 12th house, we'll deal with that. But really, so the Scorpio, this is going to be quite an explosive person. and we're gonna go deeper as well. And sometimes I read the list because either way, now I attach the whole list for Scorpio, who rules the 8th house. I attach that to anybody that gets a new report. But in a case like this, you're going to have to read it because this is like really going to be his personality. And you got Neptune there. So I'm going to spend a little bit just telling you about Scorpio, Neptune. And why is that important? Because Juno's there, which means serious relationship. Juno, it looks like that star, serious relationship. So, and then if that Lilith, especially if the Lilith is retrograde, which it is. So this is an explosive first house, and you can't get past it. You know, sometimes you know you try to water stuff down, but sometimes you can't. Like in this case, you can't water it down. That's an explosive first house. Now, what it is with Neptune and Scorpio? Well, let's just do Scorpio first. Scorpio can be very secretive, watery sign, very watery, very emotional, very intense. We can deal with power struggles. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. Could be suspicious, doubtful, but it's unique because sometimes Scorpio has supernatural powers in the sense that it can know things that a Scorpio like no human should know that a Scorpio knows stuff. Like you know it's no way they can find out, and they still somehow know, or they just get that feeling and they know something's not right. And with Neptune is suspicious too. Like with Neptune and Scorpio, if they have to choose what happened, they're gonna choose negative. So that's a fact. So that could be rough on a relationship, and then you already got all this explosive energy going on, but now you got the whole Aries energy. So it could be very explosive. We have to understand that. Now, Juno means you might find somebody in a serious relationship with that Scorpio energy or the Aries energy. The east point is where the sun went over the ecliptic at the time of birth. Now the ascendant is where the sun went over the horizon at the time of birth. So even seeing Libra in the 12th house, that's gonna be like could be relationship issues, social issues, contract issues, agreement issues, open enemy issues, legal issues, because especially seeing Libra in the 12th house. 12th house is about karma and endings. The 12th house is also about, really the 12th house is supposed to be where we clean out our closet, our shadow personality. We reckon with things in our subconscious mind, our dreams. We don't run, we deal with it. We're supposed to deal with it in the 12th house. But the 12th house, we're really supposed to be inspiring or helping others. So he would be helping others learn how to keep their agreements, to be socially concerned, to be lawful. It's almost like he's leaving things that what I just said what Libra stands for. And Libra also has to be careful because Libra can be an idealistic. See, when you got Neptune can be, they call Neptune a deceiver. And Neptune rules Pisces. And Pisces rules the 12th house. So this is very explosive. Like, this is very explosive. And because I try not to. I really do. I really, I've come a long way since I first started doing these charts. And I learned a lot. But this you just can't avoid. This is an explosive because you got Libra that can be idealistic. You got Lilith who will sit there and hold it in, and that's what Scorpio does. So you'll have people, like I said, you got to be very careful because you'll have people coming up with ideas. It's like the wheel starts turning because Scorpio is already going to be suspicious, even if you didn't do nothing. Like sometimes you might have done something and they catch you, but sometimes they're going to already think you did something, you didn't do anything. And then you got Neptune in the fantasy world, but Neptune can also be very doubtful and suspicious. And then Neptune is ruling Libra, who Libra can be very idealistic like Neptune. And the moment Libra sees the real world, Libra wants to withdraw like Lilith, because Lilith holds it all in. Lilith retrograde holds it all in. You understand? So that's just a cycle of a cycle going, and it's not going to get any better And the Aries is going to push it too. Aries is going to push the envelope. And pattern and Palace, that looks like that diamond. Palace helps see patterns, and pattern retrograde also deals with social issues. So this may be a person really is concerned with social issues, and maybe they even get too concerned. Like, you know, they get more upset over people's problems than people do, you know. So you got to really, this person would really have to deal with that. So maybe they have problems in the past, or in a past life, with these areas of, and that's why the ascendant's where it is. Because usually when you have the ascendant in the 12th house, it's indicating maybe some unfinished business from a past life. And so they have some unfinished business in those areas I was just speaking of, and they're definitely going to be dealing with it in this life as well. And we don't know, we don't have enough information to agree with it yet, but it may have hindered their relationship in a past life or even in this life. Now I just got to look at everything. Okay, and even have Karmic there. And Karmic can be somewhat of a nurturer. All right. So just bear with me, because we're going to stay in this house a little while. This first house. See, with that 29 degrees, he's coming to a finishing. Like everything I said about Libra, the 7th house, because he's coming to a finishing at 29 degrees. Whatever I said about Libra energy in the 12th house, well, he's coming to a finishing. And the 12th house is about endings. All right, so now I'm going to read what's in the 8th house. Because this person's first house is going to relate to the 8th house, and his 12th house is going to relate to the 7th house. So the 8th house is ruled by Scorpio, which is ruled by Pluto. It deals with secrets, sexual matters, mysteries, doubt, accusations, suspicions, supernatural psychic abilities, internal plotting, internal indignation. So you got to be careful, because somebody will be mad at you. You don't even know what the heck they're mad at. And then sometimes it's just based on Neptune, Lion, and overly suspicious and doubtful Scorpio, and then Lilith gets a hold of it, and she's internal too. So this is a very internal person, and that's dangerous, you know, because you know that's somebody you don't even know, and that's like somebody blowing up on you, and they could be 100% wrong, or they could be 80% wrong, or whatever. But the point being made is you don't want somebody just blowing up on you. And in Aries, so you got to be careful. Remember, Mars used to rule Scorpio, and now Mars rules Aries. So this is explosion. Indignation, conspiracy, vengeance, revenge, anxiety, esoteric knowledge, forbidden knowledge, hidden knowledge. Oh yeah, and also Scorpio, they have a power of healing too. Like a lot of your psychics and stuff got a lot of Scorpio, because they can heal other people, they can heal themselves. They may be infat. This person will be infat because they got that Pisces from Neptune, and Scorpio could be infat, so they take on other people's feelings. That's what I'm saying. I just said that. Like they'll overreact more than a person. Like they'll get more upset over other people's problems and stuff. So you got to be careful. But they have a great power of healing, like their own body, their own internal healing, and they can heal other people too. They have a supernatural gift. That's Scorpio. So this is going on with a Scorpio: revenge, anxiety, exoteric knowledge, forbidden knowledge, hidden knowledge, the occult or hidden knowledge, obsessions, and that's another thing about a Scorpio: power struggles, anxiety. You could kind of call it greed, obsession, even stalking, compulsive behavior, codependency. This is all coming off for Scorpio, and that's why some women they meet that type of person and they like it at first. Oh, he's really into me. He's always calling. And they like it at first sometimes, but then after a while, it gets crazy. Like those movies you see, like it really gets crazy. And then some women right away, because they're aware of it, as soon as they see it, they start to pull back from the person. Like, wow, this guy's a little too concerned, a little too worried about where I'm at, a little too stalky, needy, obsessive addictions, and that's like the alcohol addictions and the drug addictions. This is all coming with this Neptune and the Scorpio. Obsessions, addictions, compulsion, power struggles, manipulations, because they can also be manipulative, power manipulations, abuse, greed, lust, compulsive behaviors, codependency, stalking, jealousy, and that's Lilith as well. Because Lilith, with Lilith, especially Lilith retrograde, she wants your attention. And if she feels like you're slighting her, like it's just a very and like all this you ain't gonna see coming. You never even know. That's like if this was a female. This is the female who you come home and she ain't even there, and it's like a note. Like where the hell is she? It's a note. All her stuff is going, and it's just a note saying blah blah blah, boom. And the note probably won't even be that long, because you're like, what the heck? She's not even telling me what the hell's going on. Or it's the person that does leave you a long ass note, and they'll be talking about shit that happened 4 years ago, and from the first that day we went out and I wanted to stop and look at the water and you wouldn't stop, and like what are they? That was 4 years ago, and like what the heck? What's going on? So these are things you have to be aware of. Not saying this will happen, but you have to understand it's my job to let it out so that this person can be aware. Because see what happens, everybody's lovey-dovey, but if you really understood what love is dealing with the weak points and the strong points. Love is not just, make me feel a certain way or I'll leave you. That's like infatuation. So I have to express it to make sure know before you go or get too deeply involved. Intense, watery emotions. This is all Scorpio. Arguments, debates, tauntings, revenge, fear, intensity, psychic abilities, great transformation, because Pluto and Scorpio deal with great transformation. High sexuality, doubt, debt, taxes. Remember, Scorpio deals with other people's money. It rules the 8th house. So this person may be dealing with other people's money, which can cause problems as well, because that can also lead to legal issues. Doubt, debt, taxes, the IRS, legal matters. So when you see Libra and Scorpio like this, you got to be careful, because it's a high percentage this person's probably going to be involved with some type of legal situations. So his first house is connected to the 8th house, and his 12th house is connected to the 7th house. And remember, Libra in the 12th house, because the 12th house deals with confinement and buildings, which can be courthouses, prisons, mental wards, hospitals, things like that. Legal matters, court, lawsuits, inheritances, law breaking, shared resources, finances, business, karma, other people's money, the soul, reincarnation, afterlife, birth, death, resurrection, rebirth, regeneration, rejuvenation, animalistic behavior, freaky, down and dirty behavior, psychological situations, studies, research, knowledge, forbidden knowledge, hidden knowledge, investigations, investigators, managers, because this person could be a manager or an agent for somebody else, addictions, drugs, alcoholism, other worlds, creepy crawlies, other dimensions, science, higher sciences, holistic healing, spiritual healings, alternative medicine, internet, long distance, advanced technology, alchemy, metaphysics, sacred geometry, things that are forbidden, taboo, astrology, knowledge, hidden knowledge, aliens, higher life, deceived persons, astral planning, telekinesis, telepathy, dreams, interpretation, animals, enemies, Halloween, the divine womb, deities, tarot cards, higher thoughts, inheritances, loans, banking, animals, pregnancy, women's body, and finances. Now, again, this person can also be spiritual as well. And spirituality can take on so many different meanings, from spiritual in the church, or spirituality, psychic stuff. So, but they're going to be that type of person. They're going to really be into that type of stuff. The 8th house, because that Scorpio rules your 8th house, even though your Scorpio, his Scorpio is in the 1st house, still dealing with the 8th house. The 8th house rules other people's money and transformations. Other people's money can mean debt, taxes, inheritances, wills, joint finances, shared resources, and loans. Now, the 8th house is one of 3 relationship houses. The 5th house is love, 7th house is commitment, 8th house is sex. So he's already dealing with that. That's going to be a major part of his personality, is the 8th house. The 8th house. But sometimes these are the bad boys. They really attract a lot of females, though, because females tap into that Scorpio, that 8th house energy. All right, but we're still not done. Well, I just did your 12th house. I just did his 12th house and his 1st house, but we're still not done. All right, let's do Karmic. Just give me a second. Now this is at Astrology and Psychic Predictions. It says Aquarius and Scorpio. All right, I don't like how they're doing this at all. All right, let me see something else. Give me one moment. All right, let me try something else. All right. For some reason, some people are trying to duck it. Just give me a moment. All right, this is Pandora, astrology.com. It's a blog. Just a moment. It's just taking a moment. So Aquarius is the largest asteroid in the asteroid belt. She says Aquarius fits very well as a ruler of Taurus. So remember, Taurus is opposite Scorpio on a natal chart. Taurus rules the 2nd house, which is that person's money. Scorpio rules the 8th house on the other side, opposite, which is other people's money. So she's saying Scorpio would be, if Aquarius is at its best in Taurus, then Aquarius will be at its detriment in Scorpio. But we want to make sure we get the, give me a moment. And then they got to learn to be talking about legal definition of a detriment. See, I can't make this stuff up because I didn't say nothing about legal. But you can see it on the chart, though. So I'm getting the astrological description. I just hate when people keep using big words. That's why I'm here, because I don't know the word. Okay, it says detriment. The term detriment is used in astrology to refer to the sign of the zodiac that is opposite to a planet's domicile. Don't worry, I'll get it. All right, so now we're going to go to another astrology website to get the definition. Detriment, astrologyweekly.com. Properly employed if it applies to the placement of a planet in the opposite sign from that which it is said to be the ruler. All right, so we already established that, but we still need to know a little bit more. Although it is frequently applied to debility by sign position, which includes the opposite sign to that which it is in its exaltation, as well as those which is its ruler. So if that keeps happening, now this one's detriment astrology in Wikipedia. In astrology, a celestial body is said to be detriment or exile when it is positioned in the zodiac sign opposite the sign it rules, over which it has the domicile. Well, dominance, really. When a celestial body is detriment, it is said to be... See, that's what I was looking for. Finally, thank you, Wikipedia. And this is the astrological definition of detriment. That's what I wanted. When a celestial body is in detriment, it is said to be not comfortable in that sign and tend to cooperate with the least strength. So he's not going to be nurturing. Curious is not going to be nurturing in Scorpio. Curious will be very nurturing in Taurus. Well, Taurus is, believe it or not, Taurus is very sensual and patient and strong. And because my brother-in-law is a Taurus, and he's been married to my sister for going on 14 years. All right. So there you have it. So this is an explosive first house. Know before you go. That's all I can say. Not saying it's bad. In no way, shape, or form am I judging a person, but I am letting you know the house is very explosive. Hey, but you know 26 degrees Curious is. So 26 degrees though means that later on in life they may become more nurturing, because Curious is supposed to be nurturing. All right, now, not that I'm going to do that in every house. The only reason why I'm doing that in this house is because of the intensity of the first house. So we're going to look at the degrees. So give me a moment. All right, give me a second. We're going to be looking at 6 degrees Scorpio. They said with a 6 degrees Scorpio, wealth is acquired through sheer luck. It might be an old treasure hidden by forebears, or an unexpected bequest. And it says that the natal chart may be able to tell you if one is able to increase the riches or if one squanders them. Occupations dealing with precious stones, ores, and anything buried in the earth are extremely favored and bring about the kind of success one had never dared to imagine, even in the wildest dreams. That's 6 degrees Scorpio. 7 degrees Scorpio, and even you got, because see, Palace helps you see patterns. So that's almost just using it as an example, but that's somebody who can read like a treasure map really good, because Palace will help you see the patterns. Palace can help them see how to like make this. I can make money off of this. How to make them work, make it work. Now 7 degrees Scorpio, proud, vigilant, courageous character, endowed with numerous talents. One's talents are put at the service for the country, probably in the field of justice and diplomacy, and that's what we've been talking about. Rewards come in the guise of fame, honors, and a rich marriage. And it's funny because you got Juno in this house as well. Juno means a serious relationship. However, one must not heed one's jealous instincts and must refrain from being unfaithful in love. "13 degrees Scorpio. Jovial, sincere, generous, one confides in anyone, including in persons who are not trustworthy. Owing to one's excessive and undiscerning generosity, one is easily taken advantage of by greedy people, and thus one endangers one's wealth. Okay, it says if the sun is in conjunction with this degree, but it's not. If the sun was in conjunction with the degree, it would indicate frail health, but the sun is not in conjunction. Now that was 13 degrees, but that's also for serious relationships. So this person may be somewhat of a sucker for love. I'm not sure about that yet. 15 degrees. 15 degrees Scorpio, but you got to remember that Lilith is retrograde. So whatever I said about Lilith retrograde is going to override whatever that says. Just so you know, the 15 degrees Scorpio. Independent, scheming, and quarrelsome character. One does not hesitate to embark on dangerous adventures which bring about failure and ruin. Well, Lilith is going to be independent because if she's retrograde, she's going to hold it in. She's not necessarily going to talk about it. And that is kind of like scheming, but that kind of goes with the Scorpio character anyway. And I guess they may quarrel if you try to like get them to talk about it, or they don't want to do what you want them to do, and you're trying to figure out what's going on and they don't want to tell you, so they start arguing with you. Then 16 degrees. Scorpio. Benevolent, altruist, and tactful character. Life is dedicated to the alleviation of other people's suffering. And that's what we said in fact. They'll get more upset over somebody else's problem than they would their own. This decree sometimes describes the patron who protects artists and funds. Because remember we said this person could be like a manager or an agent, a philanthropist, philanthropic organization. So they're either going to do this for genuine reason or for a manipulative reason. And they said the natal chart will tell you which one it is. Or the natal chart may tell you which one it is. Okay, I think we did 26 degrees. Curious. But let's try it. Let's do it again just to make sure. Ambitious, benevolent, and a warm character. Eloquence is a formidable asset which enables to convince one's interlocutors. Career and education, law, medicine, the military, or the arts are greatly favored. There is a strong probability that one wields some sort of power. But Scorpio is powerful anyway. So now we go back to Libra, 29 degrees Libra. Reckless, lazy, carefree character, devoid of discernment capacity. One is unable to properly analyze the situation, and one feels insecure even though danger is lurking. They meant to say one feels secure even though danger is lurking. Friends are driven by their self-interest and give bad advice, which brings about misfortunes of all kinds, physical, financial, or affective ones. It's like, well, like I said, the 12th house is the house of deception because Neptune rules Pisces, and Neptune is a deceiver. But it's also the house of dreams because Neptune communicates through dreams. But the implication is at 29 degrees, they may believe something that's not necessarily true, which causes them a lot of losses, misfortunes and losses. That's a possibility at 29 degrees Libra. It can also mean they're leaving some type of social or relationship or even legal, even any partnership, they're leaving it. It's ending at 29 degrees. All right, now the second house is Sagittarius. And the second with Vesta. So that's interesting. So the first thing I want to look at is the Sun and Vesta. Wherever you see Vesta, that means you have to take breaks because otherwise you'll burn out and you can even have health problems. All right, just give me a second. Just give me a moment because I'm bouncing around. All right, I can finally get back to good old Gary animal symbolism. All right. Sagittarius in his second house. And it's also his sun sign. Sagittarius is the centaur. They're also healers. And the Vesta, she's a priestess, and we will be looking at that. But Vesta's a lot of energy, so sun sign, the sun with Vesta could definitely be this person's quite active in his house, almost to a religious, to a spiritual. You could almost say fanaticism, because when you deal with fanatics, you deal with Neptune as well, because Neptune is also very idealistic. So for some reason they have this going on in the second house, because your second house is ruled by Taurus. It's supposed to be about money, possessions, and a person's value system. Now Sagittarius is your higher self, long distance travel, culture, class, higher laws, higher courts, philosophy, religion, even foreign matters. Like Sagittarius in the second house could be anything, because that's the money, finances, possessions. So it could be connected to something foreign. And Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter deals with money, good fortune, and expansion. So we'll look at Sagittarius in the second house. So they said this person would be constantly seeking ways to grow and expand their financial, material, or physical resources. And they're very good at using their financial resources toward ever larger or more involved experiences of activities that they are concerned with. But they may find that their money is being spent as quickly as it comes. Now, based on what we learned in the first house, that means they would really have to they should deal with investors, or they should learn about investing. Because the implication was they would make a great deal of money, but they may lose it. Either being too nice and letting other people trick them out of their money, or however else. So they say this person needs to learn budgeting. If you are spiritually minded, you may find yourself seeking proof of truth and faith through your ability to generate your survival resources. They say Sagittarian in the second house, they're advising the Sagittarian to learn how to just have a broad knowledge of things. But they said a Sagittarian usually just wants to know. Like if it's Sagittarian in the second house, that's all they want to know. What knowledge will help me widen my financial perspective? But they're advising Sagittarius to learn how to broaden. Don't just learn for the sake of learning in that house. Learn for the sake of learning more knowledge and more about life. So now they said a Sagittarian in the second house will demonstrate some of the negative qualities of Taurus, such as putting value on people, or maybe even bullying. So they're advising the Sagittarian to avoid trying to control people, being possessive, and they have to avoid using the second house to make people dependent on them. And that goes back to the first house. Scorpio can either make you codependent on them, or they're too dependent on others. Now Vesta and the Sun. Vesta conjunct the Sun. So Vesta will help try to make everything efficient. This person will be in Vesta conjunct Sun. This person will be incredibly focused, and they have tunnel vision. So Vesta conjunct Sun combines a sense of purpose with dedication and commitment, and this can produce successful career accomplishments. Oh, give me a moment. All right, I want to look around just a little bit more. I'm just looking at a few things. So Vesta in Sagittarius helps you focus on the big picture when it comes to your finances, possessions, and value systems. And they'll have a natural ability to focus with Neptune conjunct with the Sun conjunct Vesta. All right. Now again, we get to the third house. Which is another interesting house. Mars, Mercury, Venus, and good fortune, or part of fortune. The third house is ruled by Gemini, which is your ascendant. It deals with younger education, siblings, the brotherhood or the community around you, short distance travel, creativity. Third house and the fifth house are the most creative houses for the most part. So this person, one thing, they're a great communicator because they have Mercury in Gemini, and Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. So they're a great communicator. And it's funny because they got Venus and Mars. But Mercury in the middle. And this is the communication house, really. Capricorn is career and reputation. So they may find a career in dealing with either young-minded people or like younger one, like really literally children, or young-minded people. But you're always careful. We always warn people whenever you see Mars anywhere around children, because there's dangers in that, like flying off the handle or worse. Because sometimes it could just be, extreme, extreme energy with the kids, and that's not necessarily bad. But it's always whenever you see Mars around anything that has to do with children, we always have to place that warning out there. All right. So first, we're gonna look at Mars in the third house. The third house represents understanding through information and what we know as a result of interactions within our community. Community can mean neighbors, siblings, short journeys, letters, news, and rumors. The third house rules our rational thought of conscious mind, memory, speech, early education and environment, writing and communication dexterity, and taken for granted skills, explorations, investigations, inquiries, and research of all kinds. Planets in the third house describe the quality and quantity of our mental and nervous system. So with Mars in the third house, this person is driven to knowledge and are very motivated when it comes to all forms of communication. With your great mental energy, you make a vital and stimulating teacher. And especially going back to that Scorpio energy in the first house, this would be great mental energy. But if the energy is not disciplined and controlled, however, it will insinuate the propensity toward being high-strung, nervous, and quarrelsome with siblings and neighbors. And again, that's the warning of the children. Because, like I said, it's a general rule. It's a general rule that adults should not argue with children. I know that tends to be a big thing, but adults should not argue with children. Mediations, regular exercise, or therapies are some ways to master this predisposition. You're often impulsive in your thinking and need to exercise proper caution and judgment before acting. You will have many short journeys. Because, see, with that short, see, the third house is short, but that could also be a short fuse because this is the communication house. So you don't want to be a short fuse. And I think we already mentioned the blowing up in the when we did Scorpio. You know, because if the person is internal, because this is going to be a highly mental person. So if this person is internal, like they've already gone over it hundreds of times in their mind, and so when you're trying to question them, to them that's like, oh, I don't want to. This is the 500th time. But it's not the 500th time to the person asking them the question, but it's the 500th time they mentally went over that in their mind because they're keeping it all building up, and that's why whenever you see Venus and Mars in the same house, that could be a passive aggressive person. Or like some people call that bipolar. You will have many short journeys, particularly in your adolescence. Now, it says if Mars is afflicted, you are prone to accidents on those short trips. Often a brother or sister will be in the armed services or perhaps connected to law enforcement in some way. Then it says if your Mars is heavily afflicted, you may experience the sudden death of a relative through an accident. All right, so let's just view the afflicted. All right, just give me a moment. Now, because of Venus, it all depends on if Venus is a hard aspect from Mars. And see that your Venus would be considered, that person's Venus would be considered, if the aspect is really conjunction, but you got Mercury right in the middle of it. So that might be considered a hard aspect. All right. Let me just. All right, so we have it 3-planet conjunction. Just give me a moment. I'm trying to see if anybody else has it. Because it's very rarely they'll give you 3 items. triple conjunction. All right, let me just look around. This is indastro.com. See, like I said, when you deal with Hindu astrologers, you just got to be careful. You got to add a little, just tone it down a little bit. But it says Mars is an enemy to both Mercury and Venus, and is quite an influential planet. Those who can see this three-planet conjunction in their horoscope rarely belong to a superior family or status. Such natives may be differently abled and indulge in pious and righteous activities. Nevertheless, they tend to be very choosy and stubborn in their nature. These natives are usually scholarly and intellectual. Now, we definitely know this person's going to have a strong mind, have a strong sense of dedication and devotion to work. And you kind of saw that in the second house, because even Vesta was implying that. Because, see, Vesta is a type of Virgo. They work together. And Virgo can be work, jobs, and activities of the sixth house. And I even said it back then. I said they're going to have kind of like a religious devotion to the second house. And devotion work. They earn substantially in life and enjoy the comforts and associated with marriage, such as virtuous partners and happy children. People having such a conjunction usually talk a lot. They're quite obstinate and practical. They live a disciplined and orderly life. They are intelligent, but at the same time fickle-minded, so unable to utilize their intellect well. And remember, that's just the Mars, Mercury, Venus conjunction. Because in the third house, usually the third house is kind of considered immature for relationships. Usually. So they're serious-minded, but you just have to be careful, because depending on what they're going through with them emotions and Scorpio energy and all that, you can catch them wrongly with Mars, or they may come off as being bipolar, like, oh, he's so nice, he's so loving, but he gets in his moods, and you never know what he's gonna say. So he will have a bipolar tongue. Now, why am I saying he has a bipolar tongue? Because this is the third house of communications. And see, really, Capricorn in the third house, it's good, but it may not, because that's like for smaller children and stuff like that. So you don't want to be too serious. And that's why I say you don't want to be so, like when you had those teachers that you just hated, like when you were in school and they were just way too serious, and then they get really mad. You gotta have patience in the third house. And so Capricorn is gonna be a little too serious in the third house, and then Mars is flying off the handle. I told you to have your homework in, and I'm sick of telling you over again to get your homework. I go, well, the building's not gonna burn down just because the homework wasn't handed in when you told us. Even if it's the 10th time, it's your job to be a teacher, and it's your job to expect that people are not gonna necessarily do what you say. In fact, sometimes kids go out of their way just to piss you off, so you got to be able to deal with that. All right. So that's the third house. And we know Mercury's going to be, we already told you, Mercury's going to be a good communicator. We will do 2 degrees, 2nd degrees, 2 degrees Capricorn, just to get a feel. And here we go. Wise, ambitious, and subtle character, endowed with numerous intellectual, physical, and moral qualities. Owing to one's sharp intuition and excellent education, one is capable of achieving success, fame, and wealth in nearly any field, be it diplomacy, science, law, civil service, literature, etc. There are few enemies only, and none of them is able to thwart one's project. Whatever path one chooses, this degree indicates a brilliant life blessed with good luck and happiness. So that's 2 degrees Capricorn. All right. Now, Aquarius is a person who may not have had a traditional home life or what you consider a conventional home life, but also because Aquarius rules 11th house of friends. Home is home is just home. Like, they consider family, it could be co-workers, but wherever they're at, they might consider those people family. But again, the 4th house and the 11th house, because your 4th house is about family. It's ruled by Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon. It deals with teenage to adult education, land and property or real estate, family and ancestors, the health or the heart, vehicles and travel, or whatever person raised this person when they were younger in a motherly capacity. That would be their imum coeli. All right, so but what I'm saying is, so their family environment. See, now when you see Virgo in the 11th house, that's a home environment. But again, it's a home environment. It's not a conventional home. May not be a house or anything, but it could be wherever people he hangs out with, co-workers after work. Even some people have a home environment and a job, but it's going to be friends, association, and groups in the 11th house. So his 4th house is going to have a lot to do with his 11th house, and that's his moon sign, Virgo, which we will deal with when we get there. Now, but we want to get to good fortune. So good fortune, we'll do, I don't know which way I want to do. Well, let's do both because it's on the same page, so we'll do both. Good fortune in the 3rd house and good fortune in Capricorn. And that's also called part of fortune. Now it's good fortune in the 3rd house. So he has a need to communicate and he needs to relate to his surroundings, community, and family. So this person could be a teacher, writer, speaker, newspaper reporter, and all those other ones we said as well. Because he can express himself well with words. And he feels best when he can convey his ideas and feelings. So that's why I said when you see that, because everything else in his 1st house shows he would tend to hold it in. So these type of people, they may express some stuff and hold in other things. Or sometimes, like I said, you're dealing with past life. That's what I first said. Like maybe in one life he was more reserved, but in this life he's more communicating. So now go to part of fortune. Part of fortune, which is a little bit closer to, not really though, because it's at 23 degrees. It's 13 degrees away from from Venus. So they may have personal charm. And they also be good looking. And they say harmony and balance comes easy for him. And that could be true, but only because of other things we said. Some of that may not be precise. And I'm only saying that because good fortune is 13 degrees away from Venus, but it is still conjuncted. So, want to see good fortune in Capricorn. Serious, hardworking. So they find happy. Their personal happiness comes through success, hard work, and achievement of goals. And remember, now Venus is all about fun, love, diplomacy, forgiveness, fashion, culture, art. So let's do Venus in Capricorn. So this person is going to be serious about. It's just because it's in the third house. That's why I'm trying to weigh my words carefully. So they're serious about it. But yeah. Well, yeah, because your ascendant is Venus. I mean, your ascendant is Gemini. And see, this house is ruled by Gemini. So on his chart, see, the vibration is. See, people see things differently. But when you say it, it's gonna sound a certain way. But it doesn't. You just have to understand. Like some people say, oh, I wanna have a career. I'm just saying teacher. I wanna be a teacher. I wanna work really hard, and I want a relationship hard too. But see, with Capricorn energy, you understand it's not like fireworks. You understand? It's not like boom boom, I'm in love, and I mean, they just see it as part of the bigger plan. You know, it's just part of the bigger plan. Not saying that's good or bad, but there's a lot of people that just see it as part of the bigger plan. It's not like fireworks are going off and all that stuff. It's like part of the bigger plan. Like, wow, I want to be married by the time I'm 27. And you're like, okay, well, you know, we just met. You know, I'm just 26 and I'm not really sure if I'm ready. Well, you know, it's part of my plan to be married by 20. Like, and it really like focus. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just they don't see it like some people want it to be. Oh wow, we're getting married, and yeah, we weren't even ready. We just think it's time. But this person's like, no, like it's part of my goal. It's part of my agenda. So that's how the vibe is coming off here. And in the third house, like I said, really is kind of that's why I say immature. Because somebody can be like Capricorn, which is kind of mature, but they're kind of immature. So this is not the house really. This is not really the house for her, because I got that. See, my twin basically said I'm a number 3. And I think Venus is in my third house. And see, 3 is like, I'm not with all the drama. I'm not with all the BS. Like, yeah, I wouldn't mind being in love, but not if it means I'm going to be arguing all the time. So it's kind of like that. Like Gemini energy is not really ready for it. See, Sagittarius energy is more like the 9th house is more ready for a more mature relationship. So yeah, he does want it, but in harmony with his agenda, his third house agenda. So that could be a problem for somebody that wants it, because I want the fireworks, I want to hold hands, I want all that. And he's like, yeah, I'll do that too, but you know, boom, boom, boom. You know, it's not the same. For him, it's more like, this is based on my agenda. You know, yeah, I do want to be married, I do want to have kids, blah, blah, blah. But it's based on my agenda. And you have to be careful with the Mars, because if that agenda is not met, then you get this boom, 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 boom. Like, I'm telling you, I'm not going to keep doing this and da-da. All right, so now we're ready for finish up the 4th house. Now, even in the fourth house, you see Saturn. See, because he's somewhat of, I'm not going to say he's a full-out authoritarian. It just doesn't sound right. All right. But you could kind of see it. And see, the funny thing is, Uranus rules Aquarius, and Uranus and Saturn don't get along, because Uranus wants to do what Uranus wants to do, and Aquarius too. Aquarius wants to go the way they want to go, so it's kind of funny to see Saturn with Aquarius. All right, so I want to look at a couple of things. What did I just do? Oh man, I know what I'm doing. Give me a second. All right, so we had the Mars in Capricorn. Saturn in Aquarius. So really, see, when you deal with Gemini energy in the third house, you're still dealing with the community or the brotherhood. But so when you're dealing with Aquarius, you're also dealing with community or the brotherhood. But it says Saturn's test in Aquarius is to grow in openness and fairness to all, to be responsible for an awareness of the brotherhood of all mankind. You will be frequently asked to put your own personality aside and be representative of a larger and more universal consciousness. All right, so now we got to look at something else. Give me a moment. All right, so the astrological definition for afflicted is a sign, a planet, and a sign contrary to its nature. So they're saying if Saturn is afflicted in Aquarius, which it is, because Uranus rules Aquarius, and Uranus and Saturn don't get along. Uranus says, "Hey man, chill out. We want to have fun." And Saturn is, "Hey, come on. We got to get to work, and you got to put that away, and blah blah blah." They don't get along. Even in mythology, the two don't get along. All right. So it is afflicted. If afflicted, you may have to work on not being cold, and that's what I'm trying to say in the third house. It's the same thing. Unloving or opinionated, and would tend to resent being told anything that wasn't to your liking. Because like I said, that type of person is really, they're too structured. Because it's not wrong with being structured, but it's too structured. And like I said, in the ideal world, which I've come to appreciate, we're not in an ideal world. But in the ideal world, when you get your charts and stuff, you know what areas are going to be your strong points and weak points. And you could actually work on those areas to become better. But for some reason, we on the third dimensional, we'd rather argue, duke it out, get divorced, get separated, cheat on each other, and take each other through hell on earth. So, but that's what you have here. So for whatever reason, see, he may have had family issues or home issues in his life when he was younger or in a past life, because that seems to be what the universe is doing. They keep tossing him into home things and family things. And like I said, the Vesta was in his second house. Okay. Because Vesta doesn't like Saturn energy too much either. But they put her, she's nowhere near Saturn or Cancer. But they do have it, I guess, kind of like Virgo. Because Virgo, the connection is through Uranus, because Uranus rules Aquarius, and Aquarius is right there with Saturn. So now we can look at it, just see what 18 degrees Saturn says. But he might be. See, some parents are like that. Like they're too, they don't understand that child rearing should kind of be fun for the kid. It's not that you're my kid and this is what I want from you. I mean, they did it that way like 60 years ago or something. You know, your parent was like a drill sergeant or some shit. But it's not really, it never really should have been like that in the first place. Because like childhood should be fun for a kid. I mean, you do got to teach them discipline and all that. But come on, some people go way too far with it. Way too far. It's not Nazi Germany. Let the kid breathe. 18 degrees Saturn. Degrees Aquarius, not Saturn. 18 degrees Aquarius. Unconventional, enterprising, and reckless character. Success can be achieved in the world of finance and in careers involving trips and water. All projects need to be carefully selected and prepared because a lack of organization will put them in jeopardy, even though at the last minute and as by miracle, unexpected circumstances and providential assistance enable their good completion. And that goes back to the whole thing they said about a Scorpio. Luck might come out of nowhere. All right, now, good house, Aries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 house, which again is a Virgo energy. It's the home, health, healing, service, daily activities, daily duties, co-workers, subordinates, small animals, small children. See, now that makes sense because you see Aries in service. See, when you see Aries in service, that could be somebody in the military, just like they were saying, or somebody, you know, any officer, anywhere. And that makes sense for the Aries energy. And as you see, that's where he has his Jupiter money. And see, 933 is big time. Even in Freemasonry, 33. For the Freemasonry, and you had the 9. Let's just do 9 degrees Jupiter. Or rather, 9 degrees Aries. Of quiet, courteous, generous. Success is achieved in a very unusual and prestigious occupation requiring boldness such as the military, big game hunting, politics. Should the natal chart concur, one can have a quite remarkable career in chemistry, mechanics, metalwork, such as the manufacture of weapons. And again, when you're dealing with Scorpio, you are dealing with like chemistry and stuff like that, science. One win, and it could be electrical as well, like electrical engineer. One wins many a victory, including in the romantic field, which is fraught with hurdles and hurt self-esteem. This decree indicates that success is somehow linked to deaths or destruction. And those are metaphysical facts that I talk about on my other channel that people don't realize. So because of Jupiter rules Sagittarius, so somehow his second house, whatever we said in his second house, is going to be linked to his sixth house. So he'll have some type of service he's in that will also bring money in as well. Seventh house, Taurus. Okay, Taurus in the relationship sector can be very good, but that's also money because Taurus rules the second house. So Taurus in the second house could be patient, sensitive, sensual. So once they commit, maybe even before they commit, but Taurus in the seventh house, that could be a good placement. And you just make sure you're not bullying people or valuing people. And sometimes you have an idea and you don't mean to, but you know, like it could be the best way, but people are not going to listen to you. So you try to bully them because you figure you're doing. Unfortunately, sometimes you just have to fall back and let people learn from their own decisions. Now, the 8th house, there's Gemini again. And remember, her ascendant is Gemini. And again, that cross is, it could be fate, a fated meeting, a fated event, a meeting, a breakup, a soul mate, which is anybody in your soul family, or a twin soul, which is a twin flame. Same soul, different body. And that's in the 8th house. So now the reason why Gemini is put in the 8th house, so the person grows up. See, because Gemini don't want to go deep. But the 8th house is probably as deep as you can go on a natal chart. But I think the 12th house could be kind of deep too. But so now you're being forced to go deep. You can't run. Like again, John Cena. See, John Cena was able to bully Nikki Bella for years because he claimed he got hurt and now he's not going to get hurt again. And he tried to control everything. Had her signing contracts. You can't move in unless you sign contracts. So he took Nikki Bella through hell. And then he finally agrees to marry her, but he's doing it when you do something like when they say in distress. I'm pleading guilty in distress. Like, but he's reluctantly marrying her, and she's been putting up with his BS for all these years. And then finally she could tell he really doesn't want to get married, and she knew that was supposed to be the greatest day of her life. And then somehow, I don't know, she finally got strong. It finally hit her, but they finally separated. And Nikki was beginning to get on with her life, and that was a big smack in John's face. And now he's beginning to realize what he had, and how he didn't appreciate it, or how he could have did things better. See, this is going from a Gemini, childish, immature, and considerate energy to a deeper, more mature energy. And that's what the 8th house is about. It takes that Gemini energy and makes it, you're going to have to listen. No, you're not going to sit here and listen to me for 2 minutes when I'm trying to tell you stuff I've been through for the last 5 or 10 years. And You're just going to listen for 10 minutes, and then you're going to walk away and act like you understand. You can't understand. See, emotions get involved and everything gets involved, and then that makes Gemini more mature. And see, Gemini becomes more committed. And sometimes that's what a soulmate does, as opposed to a twin soul. It just depends. It just depends. So when we go to his first house, he'll be in a serious relationship with a Scorpio or Aries energy. And when you go to her sixth house, you see Scorpio. And she's a Scorpio Virgo energy. And even got that little Neptune there as well. And then when you go to his eighth house, you see Gemini, which is her ascendant. And it would be a Gemini Scorpio energy. And then when you go to her first house, you see Gemini. All right. So now his true north node is Cancer. So now this might be somebody who has family in a long distance or foreign family. But see, Cancer is family. But again, it's also education. So it could have something to do with long distance education, online education. Because sometimes Sagittarius rules the ninth house. Sometimes Sagittarius can mean internet, education, things over the internet, things long distance, family, land and property. Might be long distance, travel, long distance, ancestors, or the heart, and also could be the Imam Coeli or even the mother. And ironically, that's her true north node. And ironically, her true north node is 29 degrees, but that 29 would make it, in numerology, it would still make it 11 because his is 11 degrees. But then she's leaving, like I said, at 29 degrees, she's still leaving Libra energy. I mean, she's leaving Cancer energy in the financial sector. All right, but that is his ninth house. 10th house, whatever he does, he's going to be some type of leader. Because that's medium Coeli, but that's also medium Coeli works with his true north node. So really his 9th house and his 10th house are working together. Some type of leader in family or educational matters, and possibly even land matters. And remember, because Leo rules the 5th house, travel, risk taking, childlike ways, having fun. And we go back to his 5th house. See, there's Pisces with healing. And Pisces is inspirational and spiritual, but it's really like a lot of children, almost like children education, maybe even spending time with children or young children, young adults in the 5th house. And because Leo's in his 10th house, so that's some type of career too. So basically, it almost looks like he has about, I don't know, in the same time frame or not, but so far it looks like he almost has like about three or four, yeah, careers, like jobs. You could say jobs or careers. And in his 11th house is the home, but we've already said that. Now the moon is usually like the feminine energy, and it's kind of hidden, things that are hidden are emotions. But this is like he's like a healer, because Virgo is a healer, but it could also be service. But he's able to make like friends, groups, and associates feel like home. So this is like, service, healing, health, and he's helping them transform, because see, that's that Scorpio energy. So he's real good with healing people, and that's why that's the uniqueness of his chart. Because you see like you see a lot of like the potential to be in the 3rd house, but that's why they put him in it. See, that's why they put his Gemini energy in the 8th house, because it takes you in deep and makes you feel. See, because once you start to feel, you won't respond to what you do. But when you see, my moon sign's Capricorn. If you stay in that moon sign, you're not going to feel. You're going to say, this is what needs to be done. This is how it's going to be done. And bam, 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 bam. But once you get into that Scorpio or that feelings and takes you deep, then you go, well, this needs to be done, but let me be a little considerate. Let me not be too dogmatic. Let me not be too demanding. And that's what it kind of seems like on his chart. Like, these are different periods of his life that he's going to have to learn certain things. But by the time he gets to his 11th house, he's going to be pretty good with people and healing them. And he's got like, because whenever you see the moon rules Cancer. That's the Imon Coeli. That's the mother. But whenever you see Virgo, that's the Virgin or the Mother Mary, especially with the moon. So it's like a motherly healing energy in the 11th house. And see, Uranus is always trying to tell you it's an alternative way of healing. It could be alternative medicine, or it could even be suddenly. And Pluto also means like it could be great power or great transformation. So we're gonna do Pluto conjunct Uranus. This person will be socially generationally oriented. They can give a distinct conditioning tone to society. And they say the conjunction is quite rare. Made the last time around 1848, a time of social revolution in Europe, and a time of great civil unrest and social change in Europe and America. Occurring again in the period of 1963 to 68. That was a very radical time. and it set the trend for the following century to develop and integrate. And it caused assimilation in the society. So because it's so powerful, the human reaction to it could be polarized and varied. So it reveals the interface between individual life and collective life. And that's what you see on his chart. Because he's going like almost to different ways. I mean, he's going from one level to another, like you know. So either that's his personality, or it's just different periods of his life. So they're saying it's as if from a multiplicity of sources, a new alluring voice is rising, which is revealing a new approach to life for the societies to absorb. Because you see, he's got a strong 11th house, but he's also got a strong. I think that was the 6th house where Aries was, and then Virgo's in the 11th house, which is still Virgo rules the 6th house. So he keeps talking about 1963 to 1968. Now you got to remember, he's talking about revolutionary change, but even on myastrologybook.com says that planet Pluto is the planet of the black people, because he keeps talking about this person. This is astromatrix.org. Pluto conjunct Uranus, and he keeps talking about 1963 to 1968, because it'll be a spirit in the air like this has got to change. We got to get civil rights. And then it's like the sparks start, and Uranus is that spark. Like Rosa Parks was not supposed to say no. She's supposed to just keep getting up and moving, and she got sick of moving. She caused an upset. That's Uranus. Now I ain't moving. I don't care what you do. I'm not moving, and that's led to everything. So Uranus conjunct Pluto is change for society or change for community, because that is his goal. Like in this life, he really is. He's got to change the community, the brotherhood, in a good way. And they give him the moon and Virgo because that makes him motherly, and motherly makes him more caring. So it looks like that Scorpio is going to help him with that change, though. And a lot of times that's what a soulmate does, or a twin soul. They help him with that change because he had to grow with Gemini, and he needed that Scorpio. He needed to go into the deep to do it. So are they twin flames? Yeah, look at her fourth house. Look at the chart to the right. It's the fourth house, which is the family house, ruled by 6-9. ruled by Cancer. Her true north node is Cancer. And then her 4th house looks a lot like his 11th house. And then his 11th house, ruled by Virgo, which is his 6th house, you see Aries. And then when you look in her 6th house, you see Aries. His Juno would mean he's going to have a serious relationship with somebody that's a Scorpio. And then when you look at her Scorpio, the vertex is there. So that's how you know she would have a serious relationship with somebody that's a Scorpio. And when you're looking at that, ascendant, it's so close anyway. But that's the 7th house of relationships. But that his ascendant is so close to Scorpio. Venus in Capricorn, Venus in Capricorn. Mercury in Capricorn, Mercury in Capricorn. Good fortune in Capricorn, good fortune in Capricorn. Saturn in Aquarius, Saturn in Aquarius. And all that's going on in the 9th house. Her sun sign is in the 9th house. The 9th house is ruled by Sagittarius. His sun sign is Sagittarius. So I would say, yeah, they're definitely twin flames. And any other way, if anybody else came, it would just tell. Like twin flames usually tell a story. Like it's like almost like one door closes and one, like as one door closes on a chart, it's opening on another. Like they bridge each other. And this one does it. It does bridge it, but in a more different way. See, if I use the word stronghold, but stronghold doesn't always. See, sometimes a stronghold is something that really makes you stronger, but sometimes a stronghold is just something that pushes you, and that's what I see here. But I can see how it is telling the story. But that's what I get off of this one. But it's so well written that I would say, yeah, they're twin flames. But I would also have to say there is a chance that you would see yet another chart that would tell a better story to his chart. But I'm not saying that chart exists. I'm not saying that person exists. But this chart is basically, she's like I'm not saying that he's not a stronghold of her too, but she's like a stronghold of him. Like areas that the universe wants him to get to, she's like helping him get there. So that's what I mean by stronghold. All right, I'm just double checking everything. All right, and the other thing, he didn't have any planets that are retrograde. The only thing he had that was a retrograde was Lilith, and that was it. He had no other retrograde, and that's usually amazing to see somebody without retrogrades. Now, a retrograde for your true north node, you should have, like that little horseshoe is your true north node, which shows your life purpose, why you're here. That should always have a retrograde. If it's missing, that means you have some type of problems in that area, some type of maybe problems or obstacles or challenges in that area. Or it could always mean the system may have made a mistake. So, all right, that will conclude this natal charts analysis, compatibility analysis, twin flames analysis, natal chart comparison. All right, so we do got a lot of sales going on. And remember, we do everything. Anything that's considered paranormal, astrology, horoscope, life purpose, anything has to do with space, Some people feel they're connected to certain things in space, and you can see that on your natal chart. Sometimes, if you just see certain things, sometimes you can see it on your natal chart, or just anything. Somebody just recently did a the 2018 forecast. They did the whole year forecast based on their sign. Sometimes you just have questions about somebody, relative, family, or somebody interested in. Things go on. And somebody asked me about, do you do pets? I say, yeah, because pets still are born, and anybody that's born still has a natal chart. So, yeah. What I've learned, everything comes from spirit. Spirit is in control of everything, and therefore anything that comes from spirit could be tracked. And that's why even when you see supernatural stuff, it could be tracked. And like the natal chart is the map. The natal chart is a map of the universe. So that's why you use your natal chart, because it's going to have all kind of stuff on your natal chart that's going on in the universe. Alrighty. So now to get started, there's information in the description box. We also have the services offered and price list. If you don't already have it, and we have a new one as well, you can request it. And also, you could always contact the emails there in the description box as well. Alrighty. God bless.